Lonely Doctor Whooves, Chapter 7 Lost in Time. Octavia. Octavia tumbled to the floor as the vortex spat her out on the streets of some place she had never seen before. Everything was glittering and shining. Surely it wasn't Canterlot, since in the middle of the city there was a huge tower made of crystal. It took her a few seconds to puzzle everything together, to realize how thirsty she actually was. She had no bits with her, since her saddlebag lay on her table at home in Ponyville. Aside from that, she had remembered what her mate Vinyl Scratch once had said about this place. "It's awesome. The ponies in the Crystal Empire are even more welcoming than these in Ponyville. You have to come along next time I have a gig there." This memory gave Octavia's heart a sting. Vinyl could handle herself, but the invaders had even killed Princess Celestia. How could she, as a normal unicorn, stand a chance against such foes? Octavia hung her head, and tears formed in the corners of her eyes. Just as she began to sob audibly, some pony put her hoof under her chin and lifted her face gently. As Octavia looked up from the ground at her hoofs, she looked into beautiful blue eyes that returned her gaze with more kindness than she had ever witnessed. The mare these eyes belonged to was clearly a crystal pony, since her coat was as if it was made of crystal. It shimmered in many different colors, while her mane was gray, indicating her considerable age. But what caught Octavia's eye was the tiara on her head that showed her royal status. "Are you all right?" Octavia was stunned enough so she could not speak for a while. During those long minutes, the mare patiently continued to wait for a reply. "No, I guess I'm not. I have no bits and no place to go. And I'm so thirsty." "Oh, you must be another refugee from the war that ended a few months back. Don't worry. There are others like you here in the Crystal Empire, and the Crystal Empire will not turn down those who are in need of help." The mare took off her wonderfully crafted saddlebag and put it on the ground in front of Octavia, who still was in awe about what she had just heard. A war? Equestria was a land of peace and harmony. The last war was a little over 1,000 years ago. That must have been the war Princess Celestia and Princess Luna had fought in, but when that was merely over a few months back, then she was 1,000 years in the past. I don't want to be rude, but who are you, if you don't mind me asking? And what about that saddlebag?" "My name is Crystal Shine. I am the ruler of the Crystal Empire, and as for the saddlebag, I want you to have it. We provide a little help to every pony who comes here, so they can start anew. But you don't look like you would wait for a registration as a refugee. That is why I give you what I have with me. It is not much, but surely enough so you can find a place to sleep and get yourself a good meal. I insist, and now I must be off. I hope you find a new home here in the Empire." With that, Queen Crystal Shine trotted away, leaving a dumbstruck Octavia behind. Just as she was about to accept the Queen's generosity and take the saddlebag, the Queen came back. "Before I forget, which is easy in my age, you should go see Sombra. He's a kind unicorn, who also is a refugee. He runs a small tea shop combined with an inn, just down this street." Octavia just managed to nod in agreement when faced with empathy of this level. The Queen just smiled as if she had seen such shocked reactions before, and trotted off once again. Once the Queen had turned a corner, and was therefore out of sight, Octavia took a look into the saddlebag, and almost fainted at the sight of a saddlebag full of bits. She took it and ran towards the corner the mare had turned, but she was gone without a trace. Feeling uncomfortable accepting that much money, Octavia decided to return the bits she didn't need once she had found a way to earn some herself. Without the doctor, she knew, she had no chance of going back to that strange facility, or home for that matter. Ever since she had woken up in the TARDIS, this was the first time she allowed herself to think about everything that had happened. Her one-in-a-lifetime chance to have a concert for the princesses had been ruined. Her very special sun pony was dead. So was Princess Celestia. Both had died to protect her. Why were they so willingly throwing away their lives to protect a cellist who was more than unimportant in the great picture? What was more, ever since she was thrown into that box with the doctor, she had learned of danger to Equestria and time itself. She did not understand half of it, but had started to believe what she had seen with her own eyes. All this going through her head, she had been walking into the direction the Queen had pointed her to. After a short while, she was pulled back to reality by a screaming voice. A second later, she had to dodge a pony that flew by her from the right. As she looked into the direction the black-coated Earth Pony stallion had come from, she saw Princess Luna emerge from a door that seemed to belong to some kind of pub. Luna had her wings extended and her eyes were glowing white. The sheer sight of the Princess of the Night in a rage sent the stallion on a run. "And don't come back here again!" Luna shouted after him, before she noticed Octavia sitting on the sidewalk, her muzzle wide open. Immediately Luna's eyes lost her glow and her wings dropped to her sides. For a moment the two mares looked at each other, both unable to speak. What Octavia had not noticed immediately was that Luna wore an apron and none of her usual ornament. But what struck her the most was that tears formed in the princess's eyes. "Octavia? Octavia!" Luna jumped towards Octavia, grabbing her in an enormous hug with her front legs and wings, while crying uncontrollably. Octavia was thrown off balance by the impact of the much bigger alicorn. Luna was constantly apologizing between sobs. All Octavia could do was tapping her back with her hoof to comfort her. To see Princess Luna like this was simply heartbreaking. In that instant another alicorn came out on the street to see what was wrong and what took her sister so long. When she saw Luna cowering on the sidewalk crying, she enveloped her sister in her magic and lifted her to her hooves. It was just then that Celestia noticed the grey-coated Earth Pony lying on the sidewalk. She also recognized Octavia immediately. Her reaction, however, could not have been more different. This Earth Pony had been the cause for many sleepless nights in which she had to comfort her sister. Her tone, when addressing her, was cold and unwelcoming because of that. "So, you have decided to come back after all, have you, Octavia?" Celestia could not keep her anger out of her voice completely. "Big Sis, you're being unfair." "No, Luna. I'm simply stating the fact that she left us to die in the cold, spitting on our friendship." Your Highness? I have absolutely no idea what you are talking about. I'm a loyal subject, and I would have never left you anywhere to die. Luna and Celestia looked at each other. Luna's tears began to dry as understanding dawned to them. Tell me, Octavia, who am I? You are Princess Luna, Princess of the Night and sister to Princess Celestia. Why do you ask? And what are you doing here in the Crystal Empire, dealing with drunk ponies? The sisters broke out in loud laughter. Sorry, Octavia, but this gets us every time. It confirms that the events that Celestia here is so mad about have yet to happen to you. We won't tell you more, but time travel really is a mess at times. By the way, why are you here? Is the doctor with you? So you know the doctor already? And what do you mean it gets you every time? Of course we know the doctor. Luna and I owe him the fact that we are alicorns. Well, indirectly at least. Back then, when you were always trying to convince me of being the princess of the night. Even so I control the moon, however, I am just a mere refugee, just as my sister. We should not discuss this on the street, Luna. Business is over for today anyway. So come in, Octavia, we will talk while eating and treating your wounds. You look like you could use both. Octavia followed the sisters inside, through a small room with several tables and chairs, and a plain wooden door into a nice, tidy kitchen where a black-coated unicorn stallion stood near one of the ovens watching a kettle boil. We threw your bothersome brother out, Sombra, but I doubt he will heed our words and stay away from your shop this time. Without turning around, the stallion sighed and lifted the kettle with his magic, pouring its content into 4 cups he had prepared. And I hoped a few months after coming here, he would have overcome his grudges. I hope it is not too much of a bother, but we brought a dear friend along who has no place to go. Celestia frowned at the words, dear friend. It became more and more clear to Octavia that she actually had ended up in the place the Queen had recommended to her. Furthermore, she noticed that whatever she would do on some point in her future was enough to let Princess Celestia hold a grudge against her. The stallion, however, seemed happy to have more ponies for company. With his magic he lifted the plate he had prepared the cups on and put it down on the small wooden table in the middle of the kitchen. He had a cheerful smile on his face while he did that. No problem at all. Welcome, welcome to Sombra's crystal clear tea and inn. A friend of the sisters is also a friend of mine. Thank you. I am Octavia, pleased to meet you. Ah, such good manners. The other Earth ponies here should take you as an example instead of my misled brother. Why? Is he holding a grudge against you anyway? You are brothers after all. Even among siblings, there can be disagreements, Octavia. If it wasn't for Luna, you would have received the same treatment as Sombra's brother. Celestia! Now, now, young ladies, there is no need for you two to get into a fight on my behalf. I don't mind answering the little filly's question. Luna and Celestia dropped their heads apologetically. So, to answer your question, Miss Octavia, my father was a Unicorn Republic soldier. One day after a battle, he found an injured Earth pony mare on the battlefield. Instead of finishing her off, however, or taking her prisoner, he had his way with her, and left her there to die. She did not die, however. A patrol of Earth ponies found her, and she recovered completely. When she gave birth to the twins, my brother and me, however, she was mortified, and lost her mind to the fact that one of her sons was a unicorn. Her last act before she was consumed by insanity was abandoning me near the unicorn's border, where I was eventually found by a unicorn patrol and saved. My brother and I grew up in an orphanage. You might just ask yourself how we both know that story. Our mother left both of us a letter in which she had written down the events and the names of our respective siblings. My brother lives in the delusion that all unicorns are evil, and that since he can't get a hold on our father, he projects his hatred on me. I don't hold a grudge against him. I am sorry. I shouldn't have asked about this. No, it's quite all right. Romsa will see reason eventually, but that story is in itself is no secret, for he spreads it to every pony who cares to listen. He marks me as a son of a rapist, without realizing that he is also our father's son. Octavia felt bad having asked about it, and seeing the downcast looks on Luna's and Celestia's faces. None of them had so much as taken a sip of the tea Sombra had prepared for them. Given her enormous thirst, however, she sat down at the table and tried a cup. The explosion of taste in her mouth made her eyes widen in surprise, and she felt refreshed immediately. The glum atmosphere vaporized as the unicorn and the two alicorn sisters burst out in laughter once again. I am glad to see you like my tea, Miss Octavia. No kidding, this tea is awesome. That is because Sombra's tea is no ordinary tea. He infuses it with magic. Depending on the spell he casts on it, the effect varies. Now, Luna, don't give away my secret. Sombra laughed as he said that. But do be careful. If he feels exceptionally funny, the enchantment might come out naughty. As if any of my naughty ones would work on you, Celestia. Oh, but I do know of some mares frequenting your quarters. Laughed ceased. Are you accusing me of something here? No, I don't. I know you don't do anything out of bad intention. If you were, rest assured that I wouldn't stand by doing nothing. Octavia understood nothing, but felt kinda uncomfortable by the topic. Luna brought her face close to Octavia's, sensing her not understanding what Sombra and Celestia meant. It's easy. Sombra here also has a naughty side to him. On us his spells bounce off, but you should feel the effects by now. And true enough, Octavia felt a little strange, pretty similar to how she felt when she was with Vinyl. Ah, come on, it is a harmless arousing spell. The decision is with them. Luna giggled. True enough, but just to be safe, Octavia will sleep with me as long as she stays here. Wait, you put that kind of spell on that tea? How dare you! Ah, it was worth a... But Sombra didn't get to finish his sentence. Before Luna could stop her, Octavia had placed both her hoofs in his face, full force, knocking the unicorn off his hoofs into the realm of dreams. Celestia chuckled at this demonstration of short temper. That might just teach Sombra a lesson. To be continued.